with this gal or this friend see you friggin' liking all this gal pictures and things, but I didn't know you don't want no your gal scheming and thing on you. So what you could do about this?
Right? Personally, if she just come back to you and ask you anything, but just you ain't know nothing, you ain't see nothing. Uh, yeah, I could just smooth things over, talk things over. You know, but just play dumb. That's all. That's
Hmm.
it. Just play dumb.
But like, oh, it is. That's that's my friend from time. And I ain't gonna tell her nothing. I ain't getting in your relationship why, but you
Yeah,
say you love her, man. You gotta, gotta
yeah,
stop messing with home gal on the side.
yeah. I can stop, but I can stop. I can stop. I can choose one.
It sounds like you slopping up, man.
Uy. I mean, it's whatever, man. It's just, things tough. See what I'm saying?
Hey,
That's
stuff.
a tough situation. A tough situation.
So
And
basically, you saying you don't know which one you want.
yeah, because you see,
Which
well,
one of them is
both have
cooked for you?
benefits. Huh?
Which one of them is cooked for you?
Yeah, two.
Which one is cooked better?
Man, the next girl.
Stick with the next gal.
All right, then. Say that.
Yeah,
Say that.
let's break up with the next one, man. You know how the thing go.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can
Yeah,
call she. I can call
yeah, man.
her.
We ain't that one smooth over. We done.
Yeah, man. I'm finished.
All right, all right, all right. So y'all satisfied with the way y'all took that and everything. So that's y'all done with that. That's straight.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
finding a new gal. He ain't cheating on the one thing. It's this thing.
Things is things.
Okay, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Solid. All right, so we're moving on to scenario 2. Boom. So female and female. Eudacia, this is you. And Reagan. Eudacia and Reagan. I need y'all too. We good? Are we ready to go?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. So here's the situation. You're in a situation with someone you've been friends with for years and you speak every day, but your friend doesn't
That's
promote your
powerful.
business
That's
at
powerful
all.
for real.
That's
But
powerful, right? I know.
it sounds like a real life situation.
And that's what I was gearing for. Her excuse is she's barely on social media, but you constant every time something when you see her, she
Oh,
always liking someone photo. She
but how I get
she
called out like
she on social media, but
child?
she say she's hardly be on social media, but she still be scrolling and thing. And you see one post here and there. You know what I mean? What do you
Mm-hmm.
do in this situation? You did. She used to friend with the business, of
Oh,
course. Reagan,
uh-huh.
let's see.
All right. All
Ready?
right.
I give y'all 3 minutes. Y'all do, and go.
Reagan, I just don't appreciate it how I always posting my business stuff. And you on Facebook all day, scrolling through and
Babe,
sharing, but you never
babe,
share my stuff.
babe, listen. Like, you know how social media just is like kill people inside? Like it been killing me inside and I just can't take the pressure, So I had to like, back out a little bit, take some time, read my
Okay,
Bible.
but what that have to do with sharing my recent posts? You see, I
Babe,
having this
babe,
big business
babe,
and
babe,
things stuck.
babe. Listen here, you was post something every day, every single day.
So you say I
And
post too much?
girl, you was
That's what the
post
business
every
page
hour.
for. Oh
You
my
was post
gosh.
every hour.
Okay, so you don't think that you could take time out to go on my business page and share that?
Okay. How about this?
Mm-hmm.
I go and I can share
Listen, I
one
don't say
post
nothing
a
when you be
day.
sharing homeboy things.
Hey, don't bring
You be
homeboy in. Listen,
sharing his
don't bring
page
homeboy
and
in this.
his business that I don't even know if it
Don't bring
illegal. I
homeboy
mean, I don't
business
know if
in
it
here.
legal.
Like he's been through some trying times, man. I have to support his business. You
Yes,
make
but I
it.
don't even know
You
if it
know you
legal.
making it. You know you making it without me.
Oh
Girl,
my gosh.
listen. You know you making it without me. Homeboy just need a little bit more stretch. He just need a little bit more support. I've been
Okay, I
supporting
struggling
you
too. I
since must be
struggling too.
2010, girl. You must don't know that you got all
Oh,
this support from me. I just gotta, divert my services to other people, and that's okay. That
You
is
could share
okay.
everybody thing. You could be the
I
one-stop
share
shop.
yours too. I
Okay.
share yours too, though.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Fine. That's fine. Sometimes.
I,
Okay. Okay. No problem if you say so.
I just okay. I'll put this. Send me the link. I can share it.
I can
I can
send you
share
the link.
I mean,
Okay.
honestly,
It's
both
not
my
good.
aunts them is be looking at it anyway because I don't follow nobody on Facebook. But that's like,
I need your aunties them to look at it. They could buy a photo shoot.
yeah, man. I
Okay.
can get
Great.
that. Scene.
And cut.
Okay then. I just knew this would be a good one. I just knew it would. I predestined all of this. Dance puppets dance. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. This is the last scenario. So this will be Bradley, Maya. Step to the front, will you? We there? We live?
Yeah.
Right there.
Bradley? Solid.
Yeah, right there.
All right, so scenario 3. Your female friend has shown a pattern of small lies for the past few months. She's lied about her grades. She's lied about the guys she's dating. No big major lie, but it's still a lie. So apart from her lies, she's always there when you need her. If you short like $1 on Wendy's line, she got that dollar for you right there because she usually by your side. Boom. And she got a little bit of past family trauma. Her old man was in and out. He used to be into some things, and he always had an excuse for why he wasn't around. How do you confront her about it? All right, y'all got that? Y'all cool? Y'all ready to go?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
Like what? All right, y'all figure out. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, and go.
What's up, Bradley? What you doing, bud?
Yeah, I just right here chilling because I died. I've been to basketball practice all day.
Ah, dang. Coach got y'all running those laps?
Laps, suicides, push-ups. Tired of these things now, but I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, okay. Keeping up with your schoolwork?
What is this school you speak of? Never heard of it.
Ah, dang. That's crazy. So that means you're not going to class.
Well, let's not talk about school. I actually want to talk about something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, so okay, so we've been friends for a while, right?
Yeah, I would say since JIT days.
All right, so we could tell each other everything, right?
Of course. You know you my dog.
Okay, so listen, you might want to sit down on this bench.
Okay.
All right, so because I'm your friend and I care about you, I feel the need to tell you this. You may not know, but I've been able to see it. You're kind of getting into a pathological state of lying.
Me? A liar? What
Well,
have
not
I lied about?
okay. Not a major liar, but there is some tweaks of exaggeration in your recent actions.
Like what?
You said you got an A+ on the last assignment. You just got an A.
An A is an A, though.
No.
In my mind,
That's where it started.
but in my
The other
mind,
day,
I had an A+, though.
in your mind the other day when you were dating Jamal and you were with Jerome, what was that?
And I was with who?
You were with Jerome
Okay.
when you were dating Jamal.
First of all, Jamal. Okay, but it's not like we were doing anything bad or that would be considered cheating.
I think cuddling and light flirting would be considered cheating, Maya.
Do PDA, so we weren't cuddling. And it's hard to distinguish flirting from conversation because guys can over exaggerate too. I was just asking about his life and telling him about mine.
I didn't ask him. I saw y'all.
With your own eyes or with somebody else's eyes?
I think where the court is situated, you're in pretty public place.
Okay, so I don't recall being with him and doing all the cuddling that you're speaking of, but it's fine. It's fine.
Are you sure you're okay? This isn't your usual behavior. This isn't who you were a couple years ago.
I think I'm okay. There's like nothing crazy going on. You know?
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
You're sure about that?
I think I'm sure. I mean, I'm still doing good in school. And I'll tell Jerome that I was with Jamal, but I mean, you know, everything is cool.
Really? So what you told me a couple years ago about, you know, what was happening in your home, that's been dealt with, right?
I don't think it's been dealt with exactly per se.
So how have you been at home, you know, with all that's been going on?
I really don't like it because my dad came back, but he didn't ask me if he wanted to come back, but my mom just let him come back in. So
What's he been up to?
the same old, eating the food, not paying any bills, you know, being a scrub.
He hasn't
And
been
I
up
don't
to...
like that because I got to use my financial aid and scrap up money for books after I have to help my mom pay for the lights.
So why'd she let him back in?
I don't know. She's grown. I was told to stay out of grown folks' business, so.
But yeah, they have you acting like you're grown, paying for everything.
Well, it's cheaper than living on my own because now I don't have any money, so I can't go pay rent in an apartment.
How about you tell him to either get a job or get out because he's doing nothing but siphoning out resources?
Well, I guess I'll talk to him later on today or something like that, but it's ultimately up to my mom if she wants to let him stay or not.
How about this? Talk to your mother about it instead.
You're right, Bradley. I'll go talk to my mom. She's the one who let him back in anyway, so.
Thank you. Let me know
No
how it
problem.
goes.
All right, Brad. Thanks for being a good friend.
All right. Thanks for listening to me.
And seeing.
Alrighty. All right. Cool. That one ran on a little longer than I expected, but I couldn't stop that. That just was the ultimate portrayal of everything I wanted. Communication, all that. Bravo. Thank you so much. All right. So right now, let's just so what I want to do now is kind of engage you guys on some of the things that were required of a friend in those situations. So just going back to the first scenario, which was the two males in the situation where one friend was cheating on his girl and the girl approached his other friend. So from this scenario, what do you think was required of both friends? Can you guys kind of list some things that you think were required of both friends, like just characteristics? So let me start y'all off. Communication, for example, because I mean, in terms of communication, if Jimmy, let's say Jimmy ain't communicate with Alana and say, "Boy, your girl just can't come to me and ask like if you cheating." You know, what if Jimmy with the Jimmy Lock communication, and he already knew what was going on. He'd tell this girl one shot, yeah, he cheating. Boom, everything go up in smokes after that. You know what I mean? So, what else you guys think was characteristic of the friends in this situation? Anyone?
I'd say one would be being able to tell someone the truth, even if even if it's gonna hurt them.
Truthfulness. Absolutely.
I'd say loyalty.
Definitely.
I'd say
Absolutely.
humbleness, because your friend could come to you and you could be all arrogant and try not to listen, but you got to be humble and sometimes hear what they saying.
Absolutely. Anyone else? All right, so let's go to willingness to confront. Very good one, Emily. I saw that in the chat. Willingness to confront. And that I think that ties into communication as well, and not being afraid to confront your friends on certain situations. That's definitely a huge part in any successful friendship. All right, so now looking back at scenario 2. Let me just share my screen. Am I sharing? So give me a second, guys. All right. Good. So scenario 2 was between the two friends. So this was between Eudacia and Reagan. So what characteristics do you think were present or were necessary for either one of these friends in this situation, guys?
I guess understanding and
Mm-hmm.
looking from both point of views of how we're looking as friends.
Gotcha. Anyone else?
To piggyback, it would be like communication in that situation too, because this is like a real life situation for me where it's like I'd see friends never actually support me and stuff, and so it hurts. So in my case, what I would do is communicating that. I'd be like, okay, being able to talk and tell people how you feel, like your closest friends, how you feel, like that communication is essential.
Yes. And I mean, sometimes some persons are that oblivious, so they wouldn't know unless you actually bring it up to them.
Right.
Or some people like to act oblivious until you actually mention it, but that's where communication comes into play. Definitely just highlighting the thing, and always, I mean, just being very frank about it, but still respectful, and letting them know that it's something personal to you as well, so they take it seriously. So good point. Anything else from this one? Anyone could figure out? If not, we'll move to the third scenario. So the third scenario was between Maya and Bradley, and Bradley noticed some patterns of lies from Maya. This is all hypothetical, of course. And he knows about past family trauma, and he confronted her about it. So we have communication here right off the bat. Anything else that we could draw from this, guys? Any other characteristics you think were present?
Patience. Because if you deal with a pathological liar, they're going to keep lying until you get the truth out of them.
They're going to get you to run around. Absolutely.
Which I am not, by the
way. Of course, Maya. No, that's the disclaimer I put in. I see Samsung Ace. Yeah, Samsung Ace has their hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Duane, what do you say? Good night,
all. So what's going on?
Hey, wait, Duane. Now you got to show me where this girl was lying. You know what I mean? Because it sound like the friend, he sound like he got an underlying issue. He go on from grades, right?
Yeah.
And come like a stalker, because I visualize this boy stalking her in the mall. For one, she ain't married, right? She dating. And that's the problem with us, the different cultures, in the Bahamas. We date like we married, boy. You see, that's a big problem. And I sure, being, having that U.S. exposure, you could date like 3 gals one time. It's just dating.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It ain't like we intimate. It ain't like we this. So if I take one girl for lunch, if I
Mm-hmm.
take one girl for dinner, we dating, we friends, we cool, we trying to get to know each other. We ain't signed no contract, we ain't sealed no deal.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
friend sound like he throwing all these low blowers in her face, and plus friend too deep. He know too much. That's how people is get hurt right there, because you could listen to his tone.
Yeah.
See, you correcting me, right? I was just listening to his tone straight through,
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I think friend a little jealous, because that's them said what you see on Lifetime, Duane. You know what I mean?
No.
Them quiet said. That's them
But
quiet said, Duane.
see the scenario. The scenario was they close friends. They've been close friends for a minute. You see what I'm
And he too
saying? So not
close. Too close.
yeah.
Too close, because when she get boyfriend, he can mess things up because he holding some different feeling. I only go on based on the tone and what he was saying. You see what I'm saying? That's why I picture all that. Because if my wife had a friend who questioning her like that,
Yeah.
man, he feeling her. Like
I,
I thought she's on the out.
oh Lord
You see what
mercy.
I'm saying? Boy, me and that boy got the, if I ever walk in the room, my wife on her knees, drilling out her, pouring out her heart, boy, sister, boy, you married to the wrong one.
Oh boy, I got you. I got you. That's a very good perspective that you brought. And I guess in that situation is you have right off the bat, communication is key, and it has to be communication beforehand, because he needs to know that that she's only dating and she ain't really serious, But I think actually I can't remember, but I think in the conversation she may have been, I don't know. Let's say she wasn't committed, but if she ain't committed and she just dating, then that have to be the communication. I mean, as friends, y'all need to. I mean, if y'all close friends, if y'all like actually like close like that, the communication comes in with them knowing what their situations are with persons. You know what I mean? Like if you just dating this play, if you in this play, you only going for like ice cream. I know you ain't committed to him. So if I see you with another guy, I wouldn't be alarmed by it. So yeah, Dario, what you saying again?
Let me ask you a question, Dwayne. I noticed that you, for the last session that I started with you first came, you and Landy normally would come out with an explanation of the term. Like, so what is your definition of the term friend? Because friend to me is someone who we normally gravitate towards, people who accept us for who we are.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? We accept all the flaws and everything. That's why
Yeah.
you gravitate towards that person who know, like, boy, I break, I get a hole in my shoes, but they still accept me for who I is. And I was looking at let's look at the first scenario with Jimmy them. You
Right.
see I think it was the first, yeah, where he was like, boy, look here, which one of the girls you like? Pick one, right? He ain't never picked the side who come to him.
Yeah.
Just saying, but he probably thinking, Jimmy them is them brain box. They thinking all Jimmy saying is, boy, look here, all these things out there, pick
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now, in scenario number two, the other friend was kind of clingy. It's like, oh, I watching you, like sometimes you gotta leave space for error. So she was saying, hey, look here, I see you liking everything around me, but you don't like in mine.
Yeah.
Like you getting. That's how people just get like commit to the level of commit suicide, because they get so clingy. Like everybody want to be accepted,
Yeah.
and that's your friend. So you got to give your friend time to get
Yeah.
back to you. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? You never said, hey, friend, I could pay you for every time you like my to do or advertise for me.
Yeah.
You
I
see?
got you.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely to that end. So I just saw the chat. But to that end, especially with scenario two, it's something you have to forbear much. I think that's definitely a thing of in friendship. You have to forbear much. You have to accept your friends for who they are, and you have to accept their actions. You know what I mean? In that situation, I think when you shouldn't try to make it so personal, and give someone the benefit of the doubt. Because sometimes people just really that oblivious. Some people just don't really care for that stuff, But like I say, if that's something that's really dear to you, you should be able to go to your friend and say and express yourself, because it means that much to you, even though you don't want to be hounding them, you don't want to be making it seem like a big deal. Because I mean, at the end of the day, your feelings are your feelings. You know what I mean? And if they're your friend, they'll be able to accept your feelings as well. So that's that. All right, we're moving on. So
Hold on,
now,
Duane.
oh,
To that last point
yeah,
with Bradley and Maya. At the same time, though, I feel like my friend needs to be able to call me out.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
we shouldn't like my friend should be able to hold me accountable. If
yeah,
my friend know that I with Jamal and I've been messing around with the next one, I feel like to a certain extent, if that's my best friend, then they need to call me out on what's wrong. They need to call out sin. If they see me lying, at the same time, I feel like, yes, there's a separation between clingy and annoying and too much in your business, but there's also a highlight of accountability in
certainly,
friendships,
certainly,
especially in Christian friendships. Like I would always like I have Christian guy friends and they'll call me out and they'll be like, what's going on? And I also have Christian girlfriends who will be like, listen, like, you can't be doing that. And I will accept that and I will try to change my life once I see the wrong.
yeah, definitely. Most certainly, most certainly. Listen, I wasn't even expecting this conversation to get this deep, but I love it. And Dario, what you saying again? Talk to me.
Yeah, Dwayne, I fully agree with her. As long as you give the person that leeway,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you give them that leeway, I have no problem with it. Because you need people in this life to hold you accountable for stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But the way that with that scenario, it was like he, what the scripture say, he who without sin cast the first stone. Like
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't easing up on her. He went from one thing to a whole different thing. Like it was just, and he
Mm,
forget about his downfalls. So
mm,
I ain't gonna have no friends who just worrying about my downfall and he ain't
yeah.
using my downfall as a mirror to say, but you know what? You
Ah,
fall short too. So it's like he was just like stoning us straight through, like just
got it,
running
got
free.
it,
And I was like, so that's the view I took. My bad. But
got it.
yeah, you do need people, sincere people who are accountable, but then be careful how far you let them go in your business, because he going nobody the old man who just sell drugs and thief and freeloading off the money
Yeah,
into, you know what I'm saying? So when your business get on the road, when you and this friend break up, don't forget you cause it.
yeah, definitely. I got that. That's definitely some good viewpoints of everything. That's very good stuff. Thank you for the conversation, guys. So like now, now I have the different elements of which I drew from all those things, and so I want to highlight intentionality, and the intentionality, and it all draws back to us being intentional with how we approach friends. So let's say for Bradley, for example, Bradley had to be absolutely intentional in how he approached Maya with the situation, because like what Dario was saying, you don't want to just bombard her with all these things. Oh, you doing this? Oh, you doing that? You know what I mean? Yes, you wanna highlight things to your friends, but you have to have a certain level of finesse to do it. You know what I mean? Because people still got feelings. You know what I mean? And maybe that point in time was just for him to highlight the fact that she might have been or like, let's say he wanted to confront her about the guy situation, and maybe that he could use that time to draw more clarity on, like, okay, Maya, you with Sylvester, like y'all serious? Because I just see you with Kenan, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's not so, I wouldn't call it prying, but I call it just communication and being intentional, being intentional about what it is you ask about and your approach. So yeah, it's definitely all about approach. And some of the other things we highlighted was understanding, communication, loyalty, and selfishness. Unselfishness I think that's what Reagan would have displayed by going out of herself and taking the time out to share Udasha's posts and supporting her in different ways. You know what I mean? And correction, for example. So that one tied back into scenario 3, just with Bradley trying to get Maya not to lie. You know what I mean? No matter what type of lie it is, whether it's a small lie, big lie, a lie is a lie. And we want to encourage our friends not to go down that road. You know what I mean? So that is that. Cool. So very good discussion, guys. Very good discussion. All right. So what does a friend look like? Anyone could talk on that for me. What y'all? Oh, what? Yeah. What does a friend look like, guys? What does a friend look like to you? I want to hear what you all got to say. Anyone? You got your hand up, Dario.
Pardon me, sorry for that. My bad.
All right, like I was saying, personally, I think a friend is someone who can, always be there for you. Someone who isn't just gonna do something because they aren't gonna take advantage of you, and they aren't gonna do something that only leads to their benefit. They're gonna look out for you also. They won't do things that's gonna get you in trouble.
Yes.
And they won't just think about themselves and whatever thing that they're doing. So
Okay.
that's just some of the things of what I think a friend is.
Yeah. So back to that point of unselfishness. A friend is unselfish, basically. One of the points Alano highlighted just now. That's a very key element in friendship. You have to be very unselfish. Anyone else with what a friend looks like to them? Let's go. Y'all, come on. Y'all give me some. Oh yeah, I know all y'all got friends. Talk to me. What a good friend look like?
Duane, I think a good friend is that person that you you got a flat tire.
Mm-hmm. You could call them.
And they're the first person you call because you know that they'll come through. So there's that dependability and there's that loyalty.
Reliability. Very good point.
That's a good trait of a friend.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
I still go back to that whole accountability thing because to me, like, accountability and friendship is so serious.
Yes.
Like, I'll have friends in my life who I know that if I say, oh, let me go and get drunk or something, like, I know that friend is gonna be like, girl, like, are you crazy? You know that that's wrong. Or like, the friend, when you want to do something bad, like, they're there to talk good into you. So they pour into you and you pour into them. So I feel like there should be pouring into each other to uplift each other. Somebody who could uplift you to do and be your best self.
Yes. Speak to me. There it is. Definitely the accountability factor. And I think that's so important. It's so important because, I mean, we're human. We're honestly human and we make mistakes. And it's always good to have someone there who ain't your parents or who ain't like this overbearing figure to just give you a little nudge and say, you know what? I don't know if that's the right decision. I don't know if that's best, Udeja, but it's so good. It's so good to have a friend, a voice of reasoning, you know what I mean? Who's just there to kind of counsel you, who's there to give you good advice and good counsel. That's very, very important, very key components of a friend. Anyone else? Anything else? Anyone else? Reagan, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
I also think like a friend should be someone like you're extremely comfortable with, because you don't want to be like friends with someone you're not comfortable with. Or we gravitate towards people who have like same interests as us and, I guess same backgrounds, roots, and that just strengthens, I guess, the connection. Friendship needs chemistry, what I'm trying to say. So
yes.
Yeah.
Compatibility. Well, you're taking me back to the perfect mate, Reagan. And it's so funny how we spoke about that in the perfect mate in terms of like dating or girlfriend, boyfriend, marriage. Compatibility is across the board, I mean, we're all human, but we connect with specific persons, you know what I mean? We ain't friends with everyone, you know what I mean? But we connect for certain reasons, and we have compatibility, which is key. And geez, I'm trying to remember all the elements of compatibility, spiritual compatibility. I can't remember all that stuff. We ain't going into that too much. But yeah, definitely compatibility. That's a huge factor when it comes to friendship. Anyone else? All right. No. Can I move on?
Hey, Duane.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question. You got any friends?
I have a few.
All right. Let's say your friend called you up right now, and he say, Duane, the landlord getting ready to throw me out. I need $1,500. All right. Now, you being his friend. See, in life, I could be a friend to you, and you could be a friend to Landy.
Right.
Meaning, I pick you up for work every morning. I come from South Beach, go Yellow, then we go Life and Key. Right? Now, on payday, you jump in Landy car, and then you and Landy go to the bar, y'all go to the strip club, then y'all go for something to eat, and then y'all go home. So what happens is sometimes we could be a friend to someone, and they be a friend to someone else. So like the Bible say, test all things. You know what I mean? So when you down and out, you want someone to be there. But when that's someone down and out, are you going to be there? You see what I'm saying? You say, like my boy, he had a vehicle on the dock. I wouldn't call him my friend. We came from a common place. We still look out for each other when best. I still look out for him as best as I could, right? We grew up in the same yard, eating out the same pot. Now, people grow apart, no problem. We always kept that link. So out the blue, he called me. And I was like, boy, what you want, boy? You don't call me, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, check, do this, that, the next. In 5 minutes, I had to come up with $1,500 after hearing the story. You see what I'm saying? He's saying, oh, I order one Jeep for the wife and Atlanta. And because when he's telling me about this, I said, boy, put that money up. But he had, the COVID kick, and he had to pay the rent and do all this other stuff.
Right.
So what happened was he came, and then he was like, I was like, boy, how much you need? He's like, oh, I need 25. I said, you know what? I said to myself, why should I sacrifice the 25? I only really is here from this bike when he needs some. I said, but I still can't, because customs would charge you $50 a day. They charge you $50 a day until you come up with the rest of the money. So I tell him, boy, look here, all right, let me lend you 15 for 16. You see what I'm saying? Just to teach you a lesson. But I'm not giving you the 25. So I said, I can lend you 15, and I wrote up a contract and everything, because I don't want to play stupid.
Right.
Use my boy, but man, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't call you. I put him to the test one time. I was doing an experiment, and the experiment went contrary, and the experiment is based on something in this field.
Yeah.
And it was really like a life or death situation. And you know what he say? He said, "Hey, come in," and he never come. You know what I'm saying? So every time you need something, see, I could be a friend to you that every time you need something, but you out there chasing other people and forgetting where your roots is. That's all I'm saying.
That's whoa, heavy. Very interesting perspective, and is interesting, but it's not uncommon. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I'm trying to think if I've ever been in a situation like that. I can't really think of anything right off the bat, but it happens when you're there for someone, but they ain't there for you, son. And sometimes it takes you a while to recognize it. But I think the way life's set up, it always before our face, you know what I mean? Whether it take us some time to get it or not, we eventually is right there before us for us to see. And we have to be conscious of it, because I mean, if you invest in, let's look at this as an investment. If you given into this investment, $50 this month, $100 the next month, $80 the next month, but you don't really seeing no return on your investment. And not to say that we should look to see returns from friendship, but I mean, look to see if there's reciprocation. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if someone coming to you the only time you need them for your money, and if someone coming to you only when they need money, and then when you go to them for money, they don't have nothing for you. They always have an excuse. You know what I mean? I think that's a clue at whether you should kind of just keep. I mean, as a friend, you should forbear much. You know what I mean? You have to have longanimity, which is basically to be able to long suffering. You just have to be in that situation. You got to be in the mindset that you could always help. But you just have to be aware when someone taking advantage of you sometimes. And that all boils down to your consciousness. And I don't think you could consider a person a friend in that situation. So, Deja, you saying something?
I think that brings up the point that, in friendship, sometimes, yes, you may be a 60-40, but, never make sure that you're not always the 80-20, or you're not always at a 70-30, because a lot of times, like, it's good to do for others. Like, that's very important, but don't get taken for fool. Because I know many times, like, I'll be given 80% all the time, but they can't even give more than 20%. And I feel like sometimes, like, we end up using our own selves and getting ourselves in a predicament when this is a constant cycle, because now the friendship is toxic and it becomes draining. So trying to keep the balance of that 50-50, or at least, as I said, you won't always be at 50. Sometimes you will have something going on in your life and you may have to drop down to say a 40 or a 30. And I get that, but just once it's not like a regular thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good point. Very good point. Dario, that's you again.
All right, Duane. Remember one time ago, man, you was talking about the 3 A's, right? You remember what they were?
Nope.
The 3 A's in life where everybody want to be approved, accepted, and appreciated, right?
Yes, I remember now.
Sometimes we take commonality, like when I say commonality, I mean like stuff we have in common. For friendship. Why do we call these people friends? You know what I mean? Because we go to the lunch cafeteria at the same time. We talk about sports. I give you a ride. I drop you home and meet your little girl. Why? You see what I'm saying? So we gotta first find, like someone said the other day, right? They say, hey, every 2 years, throw away your phone and get a new number. And at the end of a certain period of time in that year, all the numbers that reappear in your phone are the people that can basically carry you to the next level. Because most of the time we hang on to people who we got to babysit and pamper, but who's building up Duane? Who is making sure that Duane is straight? Who is making sure, I know Duane into fitness, I know Duane into crown line, I know Duane into all this. So who is, all right, in your field right now, how much people that you would call friends made sure that, hey, you got clients? You see what I'm saying? In this COVID time, they're supposed to say, boy, look here, I know my boy who's anywhere they go and they hear about someone needing a fitness trainer. They say, I got my boy, check this number. And then they say, hey, Duane, look here, I just get this number. So what I'm saying is that a friend to me, I really don't keep friends, especially males. No, I talk with gals straight through because, 2 dogs can't be in one yard. Niggas will, you know what I'm saying, Duane? Come on, man. Life will teach you lessons. You see what I'm saying? See, if me and a bunch of gals is friends, what they can do is take knowledge and take sight from me and go home and probably make their man a better person. But if me and a bunch of fellas is friends, I can't talk investment. I can't talk nothing, because what you could do, you could be envious.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I basically deal with a bunch of guys. Now I wouldn't call these fellas friends because we don't hang out. We don't do certain stuff that friends do. We just have respect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could call on me anytime. I could call on you anytime. It's just common respect. Now, as far as me coming in your house, sitting up, playing with your little girl, coming for a barbecue, we might have a cold beer every now and again because that's what we do. I just saying, but I don't, just saying, we have love and respect for each other, but we don't call each other friends.
I got you.
So we try not to talk about friendship when we just have stuff in common.
Got it. Very good. So moving on, we're going to get into the stages of friendship. What y'all talking about in this chat anyway? Anyhow, so we're moving on to this stages of friendship, and I glad you pointed out those different elements, Dario, because it's levels to this stuff. You know what I mean? You have acquaintances, you have close friends, you have intimate friends. And if you look at this friendship pyramid right here, you have the different categorizations of friends. So if we start from the bottom and go up, we start from strangers. which is the lowest level. You don't even know this person exists. But I mean, like, it's so funny. I mean, like in Nassau is small, so you see people all the time. I think that's how I got friends with some people. Like I'd see them around, and I'd see them there. Model, you again? Like, wait, let me talk to you because this is like the third time I see you this week. What's going on? What's your name is? You know, that type of thing. And that's where it all starts off as. And then you have the next level, which is acquaintances. Occasional contact, very general knowledge. You all talk about general stuff. Yeah, like y'all ain't really no buddy. I mean, but if y'all passing each other, y'all say y'all get a little head nod. What's going on with you? You know, stuff like that. And that's your acquaintance. And you talk about like the most general stuff, and it might be like a group of friends. Like I've had persons I've met through friends, and we'd be together in like certain situations. I'd be like, "What's up?" Not much casual conversation, but like y'all never get beyond that level, and that's where you really keep it as. Then the next level from that is casual friends. So now you have the element of common interests and activities, and you meet more frequently than acquaintances. So your meetups are a little bit more intentional. You're not serious emotionally. So yeah, that's really the casual friend. And I'm trying to see what this looks like. Casual friends. Yeah, like friends you like, I guess you guys could engage on social media, for example. Like if you like their photo, you comment on their photo. If they're an artist, for example, you'd be like, "Oh, nice work, man. I love this work." That type of stuff. So casual friends, you engage each other. Y'all are cordial, basically. So the next level from that is close friends. So close friends are persons that share similar values, ideals, worldviews. So y'all got some things in common. Y'all kind of think the same way. Y'all talk about, y'all got some interests. Maybe me and you became close from work, and we obviously in the same line, same career. So we throw ideas off of each other. We talk about things. The second point says mutual interests, life goals, work together to achieve goals. Like, so there you go. Maybe work, co-workers, connected in mind, body, and spirit. That's a powerful one. So I mean, this definitely speaks to close friends. I mean, when you think about being connected by mind, body, and soul, I think this is obviously at the top of the pyramid. So this is transcendent from the lower level. So you guys have obviously built up a connection. You know of each other. You know the way a person thinks. You guys engage each other very frequently on different ideas. Maybe they come with you. Maybe you guys talk about your personal issues with each other as well. And this is a person that you can rely on. You could confide in, and that's it. That's what that is. And it says at the end, most persons never really get this far. So I think Reagan mentioned compatibility. This would probably be someone that you're compatible with. And then you don't gonna be compatible with everyone. That's not the way life works, So that's a close friend. And at the very top, you have intimate friends. So intimate friends. So just looking at this, it was very interesting. So it says committed to the development of each other's characters. Very powerful one. So you were talking about pouring into each other and basically trying to build someone up. That's what they categorize as an intimate friend. Just you're concerned about a person's well-being, you're concerned about their goals, their development, and that's what they deem a intimate friend. Mutual responsibility of honesty. Also, again, you call out all the points of intimate friends. Being accountable, looking for someone, or having a friend that will hold you accountable, that will tell you when you're being wrong. Basically, that's really it. Next point is connected soul to soul. So y'all have this deep connection. And I feel like, so when we talk about intimate friends, maybe that's the beginning stage of a relationship. Not necessarily. Could be. I feel like that's the point. You know, obviously going into a relationship, friendship is the foundation. You know, you guys have to have compatibility. You got to be able to you have to be connected by the mind, body, and spirit. You don't just go in a relationship with anyone. You obviously have a strong affinity to that person. But I think ultimately, if this is a serious relationship, you will feel if you connected soul to soul, and nothing will stop that. But like I say, no need to go into relationships. You could have intimate friends. So yeah. Any feedback on this one? I said a lot. Any feedback on the friendship pyramid? Any at all?
I think in regards to you saying like the whole connected mind, body, and soul, that's why it's so important to have like friends of like mind. Like for example, if I on this Christian walk, like I constantly tell people those in my inner circle, meaning those who I talk to every day, or those who who could easily influence me, themselves, they on the same part as me, buddy. Because when you have somebody who ain't on that same part as you in your inner circle, you'll be surprised on how they could sway you and move you in ways that you wouldn't even think is possible and influence you. That's why you got to make sure that them inner circle friends like-minded. Now, everybody else who outside of the circle, and y'all could be dead cool and y'all could be close friends, but it's them set in the inner circle.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta be very careful of who you let into that inner circle, for sure, because birds of a feather flock together. Absolutely. And if you're on a specific path, it ain't make no sense you hanging out with someone who ain't on that who don't have the similar ideals. You know what I mean? It just don't make no sense, because you going in one direction, they going in the next direction. I mean, in a perfect world, maybe they'll gravitate towards your direction and go on a progressive path that you're trying to pursue. But I mean, the way life's set up, you know, you may be the one to veer off and go into that wavering path that leads to somewhere that you ain't want to go. So very good point, Eudacia. You definitely have to be cognizant of who it is you're letting into your sanctity, you know. And it's obviously we want to have we want to have close friends who loan to our sanctity, who keep our peace, who give us that ultimate well-being, who supplies that for us, or who supplements that for us. So yeah. Any other feedback on that? Anyone? No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. No, we going. Oh, so here we are. So now we're going to touch the Bible. So we going into David and Jonathan. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with this story, but this is a very powerful story of friendship right here. And let me get a peek. Boom. Okay. So I'm just going to briefly read it. So the story of David and Jonathan, it goes into, so I wanted to do a little bit of background. So the background starts as early as 1 Samuel chapter 16. So 16, well, yeah, it starts off from 16. And in this story, we have Saul. We have Saul involved, who is the father of Jonathan. We have David, who was also involved. And it goes back in terms of the background, to give you just a brief background. So in 1 Samuel chapter 15, it speaks of the Lord rejecting Saul as king. So the Lord appeared to Samuel, and he basically wanted Samuel to come and anoint Saul as king. He initially, God wanted Saul to be the king, but so I'll read for you in chapter 15, verse 2. Starting verse 1, chapter 15 of 1 Samuel. So it said, Samuel said to Saul, I am the one the Lord sent to anoint you king over his people Israel. So listen now to the message from the Lord. Verse 2, this is what the Lord Almighty says. I will punish the Amalekites for what they did to Israel when they waylaid them as they came up from Egypt. Now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. Do not spare them. Put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. So God wanted Saul to wipe these people out completely. No ifs, ands, or buts, no exceptions, no nothing. But Saul and Nephi ourselves say, you know what? I can spare these I think it was, so going back to verse 10, in verse 10 it says, then the word of the Lord came to Samuel. I regret that I have made Saul king, because he has turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. So Saul didn't carry out the instructions to the T. God made it very clear what he wanted Saul to do, but Saul had his own motives, and he went contrary to what it was God wanted, and for this reason he was rejected. So now fast forwarding into chapter 16, Samuel goes on to anoint David, and then it goes into saying in chapter 16 verse 12, it says, so he sent for him, speaking of David, so he sent for him and brought him in. He was glowing with health and had fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, rise and anoint him. This is the one. So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. All right. So that just speaks to how David came into favor with the Lord. And further in that chapter, it speaks to how now David came into Saul's services. So here it is in verse 14 of chapter 16. In 1 Samuel, now the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and an evil spirit tormented him. Further, it says, then Saul sent messengers to Jesse, who was the father of David, and said, send me your son David, who is with the sheep. And verse 21 says, David came to Saul and entered his service. Saul liked him very much, and David became one of his armor bearers. And because Saul was tormented, he wanted some relief from this torment, and David was his torment, because David was, as it says in verse 23, whenever the Spirit of God came on Saul, David would take up his lyre and play. Then relief would come to Saul, and he would feel better. And just a little information: so a lyre is a stringed instrument. I'd call it like a mini harp, a mini harp. So it's like handheld strings and all that. It's very beautiful. So that's that. So now getting into chapter 18. So just reading on, it speaks of how in verse 1, after David had finished talking to Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David. So now we're getting into David and Jonathan. So we're getting into the meat of the story. This is where it really starts. And just saying that again, after David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. So think about it. So Jonathan and David became one in spirit, and he loved him as himself. When we think back to I think it's Matthew 22, when Jesus was questioned about the greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your heart, with all your soul. This is the greatest commandment. And the second commandment after that was to love your neighbor as yourself. So that's our neighbor. Your neighbor is more so like an acquaintance, casual friend. Y'all don't really wine and dine like that, but here it is. Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. So you see the magnitude of the connection there. He loved him as himself. I mean, everyone loves themselves, you know what I mean? So God calls us to love our neighbors as ourselves, but it's much deeper than that, especially in this first verse when we see the connection between David and Jonathan. So now I just want to get into the points. So just moving on to my slide. So I just highlighted a few points in what I grasped from the story of David and Jonathan. So the first point that I grasped was connection. And that was all highlighted in the first 4 verses. So verse 2 said, from that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return to his home to his family. So we notice how Saul already roped David in. He's already in. I mean, from the time he wanted him to be his armor bearer. In verse 3, it says, and Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. We see the further connection there. And Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic, even his sword, his bow, and his belt. So here it is. Jonathan taking David as his own, like this, like, but he basically saying he giving him the clothes off his back, you know what I mean? And that shows like an ultimate connection, because you ain't gonna give, I mean, although God calls us to be generous, you ain't generally gonna give everyone the clothes off your back. You ain't gonna give everybody your sword. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a lot of symbolism in this verse in particular, because here it is. He gave him 5 whole things. He gave him his robe, his tunic, his sword, his bow, his belt. 5 things he gave to Jonathan. So there's a lot of symbolism in that, and just keep that in mind. All right. So the second point I grasped from the story was intercession, which basically means to intercede or intervene in any situation. And in chapter 19, verse of 1 Samuel, verse 2, it says, well, I'll start from verse 1 for context. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David, but Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, "My father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there." Further into verse 3, "I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I'll speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out." Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you, and what he has done has benefited you greatly." So we see Jonathan is interceding on behalf of David, because that's his boy. So he already know what his old man trying to do. He knows Saul has already made plans to kill him, and he's interceding. He's intervening because that's his friend, and I think that's a very strong characteristic of a friend, to intercede. Just like back to one of Udasia's points, if you see your friend going astray, or if you see a friend on the course with danger or some type of destruction, you got to intercede. You got to step into place and say, "You know what? Let me step in here. Let me move. Let me see if I could intervene in here." You know, so that's that. The next point was connection, and so we see the whole element of connect. Oh, I have connection twice, don't I? Yeah. So the next point of connection was in chapter 20, in verse 16 to 17. So this just shows how connected they were. In verse 16, it says, "So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying," so this is another covenant. So he made the first covenant in verse 1, but in verse 1 of chapter 18. Yeah, you might in chapter 18, but now in verse 20, he made another covenant. In chapter 20, he made another covenant, and it says in verse 16, "So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, may the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan had David reaffirm his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as himself." We see the recurring message of loving Jonathan loving David as himself, and the reaffirmation of the oath that he made previously. So there we see the connection. So I think this really speaks to how we ought to be connected with our close friends, with our intimate friends. We don't want any, like we mentioned, we don't want anyone in our circle, you know. I feel like in life I think God puts persons in our lives for reasons, you know, and ultimately you won't be able to ignore that connection, and you won't have to force that connection. It's just going to be there. And when it's there, and it's real. So next point, sacrifice. And we move to verse 31 in chapter 20. And it says, as long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth. So this is Saul speaking now. So let me read from verse 30 to give more context. Saul's anger flared up at Jonathan, and he said to him, "You son of a perverse and rebellious woman, don't I know that you have sided with the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of the mother who bore you?" Verse 31, as long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Now send someone to bring him to me, for he must die. Sacrifice. So just highlight on Saul saying, you nor your kingdom will be established. So Saul was supposed to be the king of Israel. Jonathan was his son. Naturally, he would have been in line to get that kingship. But Obviously, Saul wasn't made king, and the Lord already anointed David at this point. But here the sacrifice comes into play, because now Jonathan is aware of everything that's happening, and he knows he doesn't want David to die, because I think God intercedes on his behalf, because this whole connection is surrounded, or this whole connection speaks to David being saved. You know what I mean? It's being saved from Saul's clutches, and because of this, I think God acts in Jonathan. I think God is working in Jonathan to save David, because obviously he's supposed to be the king. But Jonathan, he makes the sacrifice of his kingship. You know what I mean? Some persons in life, they wouldn't go this far for you. You know what I mean? And Jonathan made the sacrifice. He made the sacrifice of kingship, because let's say, okay, hypothetically speaking, let's say Saul became king, and obviously time ran its course, Jonathan would have been next in line to be the king. You know what I mean? So that's basically what this verse is trying to highlight. But like I said, Jonathan sacrificed all of this for David because he loved him, because they were connected. Good. Next point is intentionality, and still in chapter 20, verse 21. So it's 2 points of intentionality that I drew out of this story. So in verse 21, it says, so this was when Jonathan was giving David instruction on how he would warn him on what to look out for, and to let him know, like, if his father really, really trying to kill him, because that's just what it was. So verse 21 says, then I will send a boy and say, go find the arrows. If I say to him, look, the arrows are on the side of you, bring them here. Then come, because as surely as the Lord lives, you are safe. There is no danger. So if this was to happen, then Saul's intent wouldn't come to pass. It wouldn't have been true. But now if we look in verse 37, it says, when the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrows had fallen, Jonathan called out after him, isn't the arrow beyond you? Then he shouted, hurry, go quickly, don't stop. The boy picked up the arrow and returned to his master. So further in verse 39, the boy knew nothing about all of this, only Jonathan and David know. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, go carry them back to town. So this was the marker for David to know that, okay, my father really trying to kill you. So this is the agreement that they came upon, that if the arrows were to go beyond and go too far for the boy to get him, that this would have confirmed that Saul was trying to kill David. So this came to pass, and that was the case. But just the intentionality between David and Jonathan, just to go through all of this, to let David know that, okay, if this happens, you safe. If this happens, then, buddy, this what it is, you know. So definitely intentionality in friendships is very important, and the intentionality from Jonathan and David saved David's life. So that's that very important element of friendship. And the last point is faith, and we look at that in chapter 19 and verse 4. So Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul, his father, and said to him, let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you, and what he has done has benefited you greatly. So that first part of the verse says, Jonathan spoke well of David to his father. So, excuse me, he spoke well of David. He had faith that David was a good person. He was interceding on David's behalf because he had faith that David was an upstanding person. He had faith that David didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? So he was just petitioning on behalf of David because he had faith in David. So that's definitely the point that the scripture brings. And we have to have faith in our friends as well. If we call someone to be our friend, we have to have faith in them, you know? And if we don't have faith in our friends, then, I mean, can we really call them our friend? Very important question. So that's the story of David and Jonathan. Very powerful story. When it comes to friendship, we just to do a quick recap, we see how intimate David and Jonathan were. You know, Jonathan gave up his robe, his tunic, his sword, and other things to David because they just had this connection. You know what I mean? And we see the things that Jonathan went through just to save David's life. He did a lot for David, and we could mimic these things. Obviously, not to this great degree, but in life, we could translate these and we could apply these to different situations within our lives. We could definitely intercede on behalf of our friends. We could definitely sacrifice for our friends, and we could also we also have to be very intentional with our friends, very intentional in the things we say to them, very intentional in how we treat them. And also we gotta have faith in our friends. I mean, I think when it comes to having faith in a friend, it's just knowing that you could rely on that person. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, it's a touchy subject to have faith in a person. But I think if you call someone your true friend, and if you guys ultimately have that connection, I think you get to that point where you could ultimately have that good faith, that good relying faith, or the good reliable faith in your friend. Good. So that is that story of the Bible. That's our Bible right there. We'll come back to the Bible for sure. So we're moving on. So discussion time. First question: how do you know when to end a friendship? Like, because I mean, I know we all ended some friendships before. We all got to a point where we was like, that's it. I had enough of this, you know. But like, what are some markers? What? So like, let's speak from experience, for example. Like, what experiences in the past maybe that you encountered that led you to end a friendship, to say that, you know what, this the final straw. I ain't about it. Deuces. How do you know when to end a friendship? Anyone? Somebody, anybody.
When you could see that they jealous of you and they more so preying on your downfall rather than your uplifting.
Very good. Very, very true. Yeah.
Duane, like they say, birds of a feather flock together, right? So for those who would say they have friends, right, I would think that both of them would have the same level of respect for each other and the same standard, right? Let's say now you test all things. So let's say, like the song say, the same dog would bring the bone, could carry the bone. When you see a person who you call your friend always meddling in people's business, always know that he carrying yours too. So it's just certain principles that you stand for and you don't stand for. If they go contrary to them principles, you can't be with them. You see what I'm saying? Because like sometimes you could outgrow people.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? I don't go back to Yellow Weller and hang on the blocks with them niggas, because no, I outgrew that.
Absolutely.
Now for me to do that as a person striving to walk the Christian walk, as a person who's supposed to be a father and a husband now, for me to do that, I go on against the law of gravity. I go on backwards. You see what I'm saying? So whatever the corner bring is what I have to accept. I done passed that stage. Everything in life is a stage. People who carry you to a certain level, you want to see what has happened to the caterpillar in the cocoon? You see what I'm
Transformation.
saying? Yep. That's what I'm saying. So when you stopping yourself from transforming, use your own. It's like you drinking poison, self-inflicted poison. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful. You got to be real careful, not to like hang on to all commonalities. Oh yeah, we grew up in Yellow Valley. Yeah, we got hang. No. I remember one time I going home, and we have a shop home. Right? Now, my auntie had like some sodas, like cases of sodas in the back trunk, and I told her, hey, let me take them out for you. Then one of my boys, you know, like young fella through the community who I watch go up and he'd say, man, give me a ride. Just you jump in the car, give me a ride, talk some sense to him, right? But he was one of the key drug dealers in Yellow Well. You'd always hear, but this one get shoot, that one get shoot. So they had like a little drug war around our block. Right around our block, Duane, but not through your corner, but through our corner, right?
Yeah.
So Yanni was like, no, don't worry about that. Close the trunk, come inside. And I said, oh, let me reason with him for a little while. I reason with him. When he gone, my auntie said, boy, that ain't the same boy you watch grow up, She said, hey, that boy want it. That boy pouted right now. Everybody got a hit on him. He trying and if you with him, you can get it too.
Real.
And I was like, oh, now I see why. So it's like some things you just outgrow.
Yeah.
And you be trying to hold on to commonalities, but then you end up getting hurt by. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Strong point, bro. Very, very, very strong point. Yeah, that's a very good element of it. We naturally, I mean, we all grow. Everyone grows, and we all grow in certain directions. You know what I mean? Some persons go to the right, some persons go to the left, but we all grow. We all go through progress. But we can't allow persons to hold us back. And if you see, I mean, and I'm all for inspiring persons and motivating persons, but if you see someone kind of stuck in their ways and you see the road they're heading down, yes, do your best to console them and to try and show them the way. But at the same time, you got to know when to detach and when to focus on yourself and know that this isn't a project that you should take on. You know what I mean? And I think it's a certain level of consciousness that you have to have, especially when you have a lot of emotions involved, especially like when it's someone you've known for so long. You know what I mean? You have to be able to detach and know what's best for you in that situation. Most certainly.
To your point of detachment as well, I feel like it's important for us to realize that you can still love people. Like you can love your childhood friends, you could love people who were once your close friends, but you could love people at a distance. And sometimes when they're not going on the same path as you just got to pray for them, and you could love them, but you don't necessarily have to have them in that inner circle.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the way. That's literally the way you have to take it. Because I mean, I don't believe in abandoning persons that I've been friends with. I'd say anyone. See, the word friend is very special word. You know what I mean? But I don't believe in abandoning persons who I shared feelings with, who I shared certain intimacies with. I still pray for all my friends. I still want the best for them, but I want the best for me as well. So I try to just keep distance when necessary, but still try to loan counsel, try to definitely praying for them and hoping for their own personal progression as well as mine. So that's that. Anyone else on how do you know when to end a friendship? I know y'all got something. I know some of y'all end some friendships and y'all had reasons. Come on, talk to me. Talk to me, someone.
Hey, Duane, I could run some tape and tell they decide to talk, right?
That's what you got to do, man.
You ever had some like childhood friends, right? You ever had some childhood friends and your mother them could see the future. Your mother them could see the road that this child going down is not the road that they want Duane to go down.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your parents could see that, but then you crying, oh, you never want me to go outside. Oh, you never want me to do nothing.
Yeah.
Come to find out, this one become a gun runner, the next one become a cokehead, the next one thieving drugs and running, hiding from people. And sometimes you reflect on your life and say, boy, thank God, hey? You know what I mean?
God.
Like you couldn't see it right then. You couldn't see
Absolutely.
it right then. But then sometimes we is our own downfall, boy. We is our own downfall sometimes because we don't know when to cut the tie. We do not know when to cut that tie, boy.
Right.
People running over you, using you, even in relationships, boy. Sometimes you don't know when to say, but that's it, boy, because you don't know yourself, you see?
Right.
You don't know yourself. That self-concept is a serious thing, boy.
Absolutely.
Boy,
self-realization.
You think they're ready to talk yet?
We could only try, man,
I wait on number 2, boy.
I didn't say this to Duane, Dario, when you did your show. These people must be sleeping.
We'll see. They sleeping. But anyway, let's keep it moving. What you saying, Landy? Hold on. Anything in the chat?
We still on how to know when to end a friendship, right?
Yeah.
I guess when there's more negative attributes of that friendship than positive for an extended period of time, after you would have already expressed the issues you have, resolution, and the person is showing no interest or there's no growth, then I think you need to abandon ship.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a very good point, Landy. I think as a friend, like the key point, what you said is over time. You know what I mean? As a friend, you got to be able to forbear much, you know, and you have to be able to be long suffering. But even long suffering has its boundaries, you know, and you have to keep in mind what's best for you and what's beneficial to you. You know what I mean? Do the pros outweigh the cons? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's definitely that's key in identifying when to end a friendship. So let me throw this one out there. Like let's say, boom, another scenario. So I don't want to get too. Ooh, let's say, okay, so in a real, no, that's for the third one. Anyway, we'll end that one. So how do you know when to hold on to a relationship? How do you know when to hold on to a relationship? So let's say like you guys been through some things. You've been friends for a while, but you've been through some things. You've been through times when y'all became distant. Your friend went off to college in the States. You stayed at UB. You was always the first. You always the first to start conversations. She'll answer. She'll keep a good conversation, or he or she will keep a good conversation when you actually talk to them. But it's always you like messaging them first. Is this a friendship that you would cast off, or would you hold on to that type of friendship?
Duane, I'll let them ponder on the scenario because I wanted to hit this question for my battery dead. But what I'm saying is, in reference to this point, the second point, how do you know when to hold on to a friendship? Duane, you got some people out there who will plant a seed in your life, who will look out for you more than a family. They would call you in the morning, boy, you get the old truck fixed, you need a ride. Boy, you know, like my neighbors, let's say traveling, my neighbors would feed my dog and all, you know, and people would come around here and be like, why you getting in your yard? You was out of town. And this, I said, no, that's how we live. You see what I'm saying? So when you get a person who's saying, Duane, the lady makes some coconut tart, I bring in some for you. Duane, again, Miami, what size your jockey shorts is? Let me bring you back 2 pack of that. You know what I said? It's like people who always doing for you. So they just won't put a smile on Duane's face. Ain't no strings attached, ain't soft or nothing, you know. But they just saying by Duane mean so much to me. I love Duane like brother. So that's where that Jonathan and David come back in again. Like Landy was telling me, Landy say he might think that Jonathan was older. So I was asking Landy if it's more like a big brother type figure that he had going on. Whereas I know that you have certain aspirations in life, and I won't be the one to make sure you get there. No strings attached. As long as you there, as long as you happy, as long as you straight. So when you buck a friend like that, who always calling you, girl, I know you just can't save, you're reading your scriptures, girl, again, for some kong salad, do you want me to drop you? Like you remember Steve Oikel? You might be too young to remember Steve Oikel.
What are you talking about? Don't talk no fool. Let's go. What happened to Steve?
Remember Steve girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember Myra, right? You see how Myra was like so annoying because she always wanted to make sure he was happy.
Yep.
But sometimes us as men, I'd say us as people, we don't know how to receive by. So when we get people in our lives who go in over and above, we just think it's an agenda. You see what I'm saying? And we just shun themselves for the ones who into nothing, for the ones who using us. Because we as a people, we were brought up to serve.
Right.
My generation was brought up to serve. So we feel more giving than receiving. You see, we feel better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
And that's where we push people. We push sincere, genuine people. If you had a girlfriend like Myra, right? You wouldn't like her because she always said 20, even 20, freaking herself right out. But if you had a girlfriend who going out there talking to other niggas, who flirt with other niggas, that's the one you want. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
so
you.
You got to be careful. You got some people out there who will make sure you get to the next level. If they take every dime out of their pocket,
Yeah.
you just gotta find them, set.
Yeah. Yeah. I got you, bro. And those types of persons are hard to come by, honestly. And those, I think those persons I think those are angels in disguise. You know what I mean? You have some persons that are really given. And I've definitely come into contact with persons like that. Persons who just ask if you need something, you find, like, even if they just feeding you, like, you come by the house, wait, you hungry? You eat for the day? You know, things like that. I mean, and you obviously you think about Grammy and all that, but to have persons who aren't connected to you as family, to have persons who act in that manner, that's a blessing. You know what I mean? And those are persons you want to keep around you. Persons, and not to say that that's the only benefit that you get from that person. Maybe that person gives you good counsel anytime you see them, and maybe the counsel is what you gain from that person all the time. Anytime you see them, it's like they ask you, yeah, okay, like, what you doing now, like, how the business is, you know. So persons who give unto you, and this is, it's very natural for us to gravitate towards persons who are giving in any aspect, whether it be spiritual, temporal, you know, persons who, it's always just good to be around persons like that. And I think being around persons like that could ultimately get you to be somewhat of a mirror form of them. I think if you obviously birds of a feather flock together, and if you're around persons who are generous, who are giving in different aspects, eventually you're gonna see that, and you're gonna be so overwhelmed by that element that you want to be that person for someone else. You know what I mean? So that's definitely a good type of person to hold on to. Yudesha put a point, when you was the toxic one and they were patient with you and helped you become a better person. Absolutely. You got to identify it. You got to identify the real in your life. You know what I mean? And it ain't hard to. That's the good thing, is God bless us with a certain level of consciousness where we could identify good in our life. It ain't hard to identify good in our lives. So you just have to be aware, and you have to be real with yourself as well. So yeah, that's a couple points of when to hold on to a friendship. All right, so moving on. So boundaries between a male and a female. So I kind of added this one at the last second. So I kind of I want to hear the females, other than you, Deja. I want to hear from the females. So boundaries between a male and female. So like, what boundaries do you set in place with your male friends, with your close male friends? And so like, what boundaries do you hold in place? Also, have you been in situations where these boundaries were overstepped? That's a key one that I want to highlight. And I know y'all been in situations. Trust me, I know y'all been in situations where, I know y'all been in situations where you had male friends who just overstepped, who may have put themselves out there to you. So just talk on that a little bit for me, Reagan.
All right. I guess the major things you got to look at is identifying the friendship. If this is a friendship, or is this a way for you to, like, oh, I like you and I want to date you or something like that. So that's something you have to recognize first. Is this a friendship, or is this a way you move in this relationship further than at least what I want it to be? So I guess boundaries between male and female, you got to realize that we are two opposite sex. Like, so once you realize that, oh, some things I can't do with my girls, I can't do with you. Some things you can't do with your boys, you can't do with me. And our feelings and the way our perspectives are also different. And when you, I guess, bring a relationship into that, that's where things go haywire. Because if you don't have those boundaries set, that relationship could fall and plummet really quickly. I'm a person who, like, I gravitate towards more male friends. So I guess me being in a relationship, like, that's something that I had to push back. Like, I had to push back, like, my male friends and stuff, and I guess make it known that, hey, how we used to react, like how we used to act, going out all the time, and talking to y'all all the time. That have to like slow down. So just so you could, give the difference between your male friends and your partner. So I guess boundaries between males and females are important. You have to recognize that you are different sex. You have to recognize that you think differently, look differently, act differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good point. You really hit it hard, and is something, especially when it comes to like relationships, and especially when you're in a relationship, is always that boundary with the opposite sex that has to be set in stone. You know what I mean? And I think back to like, generally when you in a situation with someone, like even if you like dating someone seriously, or if you date someone exclusively, I just naturally kind of gave that person more attention. So it's like I was talking to them almost every day. I was, if we was hanging out, I wasn't paying attention to my phone. So like I'd have my other like female friends messaging, but it's like, I mean, I'm really on my phone right now. I'm with someone, you know what I mean? So in a sense, it's a natural boundary that comes into play if you're genuinely interested in someone, so that helps the situation as well. But you also have to be intentional with the boundaries that you set with your male friends or your female friends. You got to let them know, boy, look here, this is the situation I'm in. This is what it is. That's that. We can, like you said, we can be hitting where the young kids in school these days. We can't be hitting preview every Friday no more. I got other things, so I gotta hang out with my boopsie. So and that's just the reality of it, and you have to be intentional with those boundaries. Dario, you got a point? Talk to me.
Yeah, Duane. Now, as you say, the lady name was Reagan. That's now.
Yeah, that's Reagan.
Yeah, okay, cool. But when I read the question, right, I was like, you gotta be so careful because, like, in today's society, you put boundaries between male and female. So those little screen toe fellas who these guys like hang with, they count as male or they count as man. So you count them as a male because of genitalia, right? But they like soft, you know what I mean? So you can't really count them.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. So I was trying to figure out, what does Duane mean, like man, and you know what I mean? Like for me,
no,
Landy,
just generalist in the general aspect.
Because if I check in a gal and she get a bunch of bird niggas for friends, I'd be like, whatever y'all dealing with, it don't matter. they all I'm looking for the same thing. But like, what's this doing? What's how things can take a twist?
Yeah.
Right. The average female today, let's say average, but from what I see, the gals them from like 18 to 25 who trying to find themselves, right? The type of fellas that they see, we wasn't talking about dating, we was talking about friendship. So we just got carried off. But the type of fellas that they date from 18 to 25 when they trying to find themselves is like fellas who like non-productive for some reason. They waste a few years with non-productive fellas because he got a patch in his head, because he got two earrings in his ears, he knows pairs, he got a tattoo on his neck. Like the type of fellas who ain't gonna never be nothing in the future. That's probably who they go and they run after. No problem, right? So let's say now that let me use an example. Let's say Landy, right?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't even use Landy to get him in trouble. No. But what I'm saying is this. Watch this, man, right?
Yeah.
My wife, I would never cut off certain female friends from my wife when we were dating.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because certain people I hang with is a value, boy, and you don't know where they could be in the future. See, all they saying is, boy, this nigga cut me off.
Yeah.
Like, he cut me off for this gal who you don't even know, who you trying to know, because he chasing down tail, not knowing that person there could be so beneficial to you in the future. See, ain't everything about sex, boy.
Nope.
And sometimes when you dating a person, you gotta set some principles. You gotta be like, hey, this is my home girl. She ain't into nothing. You know, I meet her. But when me and her used to hang, I ain't cut. Now me and you think I can cut now?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, get yourself together. So sometimes we allow people to determine how we treat other people who was there from day one to us. All right. Now watch this, right? Let's say right now, you check in who? What a pretty girl name? Savannah's sister. Let's say you check in Savannah's sister, right?
Yeah.
Now you and the old man have a bust up right now, right? Because of something that the old man freaking himself out of. Now, each way you out the house tonight. Each way you out the house tonight.
Yeah.
Now, you can't go by Savannah them and sleep. You see what I'm saying? You got to call the same girl who Savannah was threatening you, say, stop talking to her. You got to go sleep on the couch because she was like a big sister to you. So we got to be careful how you never saw, see, back in the time, before your time, you would have one man have 3 kids for 3 women through the same corner, and the 3 women still talk to each other.
Yeah.
Right? Now they know what's going on because the babies look alike, and all they say, that's your cousin, that's your cousin. Cousin my foot. But what I'm saying is this, right? The man, he never dissed none of them, you know. Like how we cut people off. When we start checking people, we just cut them off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We just cut them off. You won't know when you can need that person. Because this BIM, boy, watch this. When you get mad with your girlfriend, a type of hate will come in you that the devil even input in you, right? And she can't help you. She coming to you looking for stuff. Oh, Duane, you can pick me up. Oh, Duane, bring me a number 2 from Wendy's when you come. And like everything is just Duane. That time this friend was doing more for you.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful how you cut. Be careful how you cut people off. Now back to our third question. Right?
Oh boy, yeah.
I think it's a level of respect. See, like I tell you, like I talk more to ladies than men because the average guy today, Dwayne, you, Landy, and Kenny beat them. Like y'all shocked me. Y'all shocked me because y'all are a different level. The average guy, he any phone doing unproductiveness. I see a couple times I call Landy, you know what Landy say? Landy say, tutor in this one. I know he lying now. Yeah, I mean he lie.
No,
right?
not my boy.
He say, but he tutor in this one. Or he was on a class, he was on a Zoom call. The nigga always doing something productive.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So y'all young niggas, now let's go out of the group into the world. So me hanging with them, but they don't stimulate my mind. They don't push me to the next level. It's like the stupidness that come out of these fellas' mouth. Now, when you talk with young ladies, you could actually throw a question out there. Hey, what you think about an index fund? And they'd be like, boy, I know what an index fund is. So then that stir up a conversation because their ears open. Now, if you talk to a nigga, boy, what you think of the index fund, boy? Boy, you all thinking, like, come on, boy. So I feel like in the sexes, as long as we have a level of communication and you know how far to go, I know how far to go, then that's cool. Especially if now all of a sudden I starting to date someone now. You see what I'm saying? I ain't cutting no one off. I made limit association because I trying to find myself and trying to plan a future with this young lady, but I still get beat up. Boy, other thing, what's going on with you? You know what I mean? And see, it's how we come on to these ladies too. If you call a girl a boy, it's not sexual. You can't be checking your girlfriend and calling this next girl boo.
No.
You planting a seed. So when you hit her up, if you hit her up like a homie, she could be a homie.
Yeah.
But if you hit her up like a broad, then she could feel broad status. You see what I'm saying?
Intentionality. Good points. Caitlin, you had your hand up. Talk to me. What was your point? I want to hear it.
My point was almost similar to, I think that was Reagan who was speaking earlier, where at least for me, I find boundaries between guys and what's not. It's a different type of difficulty to set, because like she said, you think you going into this friendship and it's just a platonic friendship, so you hanging, you talking, is what's not, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, when we could link up, and it's like, is that what we're doing now? Because I didn't realize that, you know.
Yeah.
And so then like you say, boundaries end up being crossed and what's not. So now you have to have that awkward conversation of what I only thought, you know, this was a friendship and I thought we was hanging and we was cool and what's not. So I think boundaries between males and females and what's not, it's really important to state that in the beginning and state it very clearly and what's not. And when it's crossed, something has to be said because now it's uncomfortable. And what if he's having like a really good friendship and what's not? But now I don't even want to talk to you no more because I am pretty uncomfortable at this point, you know?
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say.
I got you. Very interesting. Very interesting. And this whole boundary is obviously between the male and the female. And it's so interesting. I think back of the situation. I can't remember when this was, but so I met this young lady. It was like wasn't even a pool party. It was like some impromptu, like after groove type of thing. And you know, we was talking, and ended up getting a number. And she was like, right off the bat, she was asking like, "What's this gonna be?" And because she was saying, you know, I have male friends, but like I don't need. I think she was saying she don't need no more male friends. So it's like, what was going to be? I think she was kind of engaging me on like what the point of our interaction is going to be. Like you talking to me to like try, you know, like get to another level or what? Like so essentially, she wanted to know if I could waste her time or not. Like, and I think she was very intentional in it because at that point, I thought she was cool, so I got a number. And that was it. But like I said, she said she don't need no more male friends. She have male friends. She ain't looking for no male friends. So like, what's it gonna be? And you have to be intentional with persons that you bring into your life, or that persons that you allow into your not inner circle, but like into your circle, into your atmosphere. So yeah, just that point. And all this goes to a point of being very intentional in your boundaries, so on and so forth. Chrissy B, talk to me.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey, what you saying?
All right, Ella, what's going on?
All right, man. But
Solid.
I just wanted to say something on boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
There are individuals who are already at some level of maturity who would know how to set boundaries themselves, and they would need a conversation. I would just like to use me for an example. I've had male friends in the past, and with my male friends, I would say before they get in any kind of relationship, we would be a certain type of way. But I would know already that if they end up in a relationship today or tomorrow, I know that our relationship would change. I guess talks would be less frequent. The things that we used to do, we won't be able to do anymore. And that's understandable. Not everyone is to that level of maturity to actually be able to do that. I mean, some people need conversations, but some people just don't.
I got you. Yeah, it is. You got some persons who got it, and you got some persons who don't, and you have some persons who just try to play crazy and ignore it. But yeah, you just it's almost like some certain unsaid normalcies that have to be that you automatically assume persons will get. Often, all the time, persons don't get it, and that's when you have to be intentional and let them know what it is. So yeah, so any boundaries, so like we talked about boundaries between male friends and female friends, but are there can we talk about any boundaries between male friends? So let me think about boundaries between male friends that isn't relating to females. Boundaries between males. I can't think of any.
I could say one while you're thinking, Ms.
Go ahead.
All right, so you don't forget to think now, because you're thinking. Now watch this, right? I had my own boy. He was always younger than me, and he lived around the corner. And what happened was, for some reason, I'd always go to pick up my girl, right?
Yeah.
And he would always be in the car. This is boundaries right now, right? So one time, like he was kind of immature and playful for his age and stuff like that, right? So you didn't think nothing about it. So what happened was, I was by our front door, and my package at the time was walking through the gate, and he was behind her. And one man said, "Turn around, boy." And all I see is when she jumping there, and he's trying to goose you, you see. So I had to run him. See, but what happened was, it was my fault because he was always around. So he felt, he didn't have a girlfriend at the time, and so what happened was, certain boundaries, like, you would have to. I mean, this is basic in dating, because you're thinking about the next level for the next question. So I just was wasting some time talking. But from that day on, I always remembered older fellas would tell me, you don't bring man by your house. They'd always tell me that you don't bring man by your house, because when you in there, he could feel obliged to go and sit up in your house and talk food with wait on you. And certain fellas who was telling me the tales, they learned the hard way. Now you don't think? You don't get the question right?
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. Nah, and I just, so like what you was speaking to was what I mean was like the obvious, like the outright boundary between males, like just having your girl, and obviously her being off limits to like your male friends, and like even in terms of like their relationship, and so like even going back to the scenario, in my past, like I always, like not always, but like I've been in situations frequently where I know like where I cool between I cool with I basically in the middle of a relationship. I cool with the girl and I cool with the boy. And I hate being in that situation. It ain't fun. But I think between males, I don't generally I want my boys friend up with my girl. Like that just it just don't make for a good situation ever.
Dwayne, can I say something right there? All right, so this best friend that you have, right?
Yeah.
Your car break down, so you catch the bus to work. Now you normally pick your girl up. Is it any of your friends you could send to go pick her up for you because your car down? Now that's that best friend. Now remember what you were saying. Now you try not to have, you try to set that boundary, but you have to trust someone in time of need. If your girl tire flat, or if you out of town, or you need that level of trust with someone.
Yeah.
And sometimes your brother could be the worst person to send there. You know what I mean? Because she have a guard down saying this to me, and brother, he ain't gonna try nothing. And she probably even ain't thinking at that time, nigga saying, "Boy, little bro can't eat all this food, boy." You know what I mean? He freaking himself right out and just try and make a move. But you send him there. You set the environment, You see, so we gonna have to have someone that we can trust, boy.
Right. No doubt. And you're definitely right. You're definitely right. And I feel confident that I have friends like that. Not a lot, but it's definitely key to have males that you can trust, there who know those boundaries, who know what the deal is, and who you don't have to worry about with that type of advance being made. So definitely. All right, so we're moving on. So here is some Bible for it. Here's some Bible for friendship. And the Bible. Listen, the Bible is the answer. The Bible always got insight on different situations that we face, and the Bible speaks a lot about friendship. And here's a few. I won't go through everything just for the sake of time, but here it is. So the first one speaks about a friend being close like a brother or a sister, and that's Proverbs 18:24. It says, "One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." And then the different points. So just going through the points, the Bible speaks about a friend being supportive at all times. It speaks of a friend helping you to grow and sharpening you. Iron sharpens iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. Proverbs 27:17. A friend being willing to sacrifice and go great depths. A friend being able to give you tough love and constructive criticism as well. And listen, we have the Bible gives us a very good amount of insight on how we ought to be a friend, how friendship ought to work, and that's what it is. So right now I want to read an excerpt from a book that is called What is Worthwhile, and the author is Anna Robertson Brown, and it reads, let me see where I'm starting from. All right, so this book was published in 1893, and it's a very good book that speaks to friendship. And it says, "Let us lay hold of friendship. In the eternal life, shall we not have friends forevermore? I used to think that friendship meant happiness. I have learned that it means discipline. Seek how we may, we shall never find a friend without faults, imperfections, traits, and ways that vex, grieve, annoy us. Strive as we will, we ourselves can never fully fulfill the ideal of us that is in our friend's mind. We inevitably come short of it. Yet, let us not give up friendship. Though we have found this true, to have a friend is to have one of the sweetest gifts life can bring. To be a friend is to have a solemn and tender education of soul from day to day. A friend gives us confidence for life. A friend makes us outdo ourselves. A friend remembers us when we have forgotten ourselves or neglected ourselves. He takes loving heed of our health, our work, our aims, our plans. A friend may praise us and we are not embarrassed. He may rebuke us and we are not angered. If he be silent, we understand. It takes a great soul to be a true friend, a large, Catholic, steadfast, and loving spirit. One must forgive much, forget much, and forbear much. It costs to be a friend or to have a friend. There is nothing else in life except motherhood that costs so much. It not only costs time, affection, strength, patience, and love, but sometimes a man must even lay down his life for his friends. There is no true friendship without self-abnegation and self-sacrifice. Moving on. Let us be slow to make friends, but having once made them, let us pray that neither life nor death, misunderstanding, distance, nor doubt may ever come between us to vex our peace. Let us be patient, let us be kindly, let us be self-possessed in friendship. There are so many ways of grieving a friend. Shall we not walk softly before them? Let us be true to our friends and then believe that they are and ever will be true to us. True love never nags, it trusts. True love never nags, it trusts. One of the dearest thoughts to me is this, that a real friend will never get away from me, or try to, or want to. Love does not have to be tethered, either in time or eternity. Bam. So that was a good excerpt, and I think that gives a very concise and complete definition on what it is to be a friend. And it obviously highlighted some of the things that we spoke about, a lot of the points that we spoke about. So definitely something I wanted to read for you guys. So that is it. That is that. And as we conclude, are there any final thoughts? Oh, yeah. Any final thoughts? Anyone?
Hey, Duane.
Yes, sir.
You see what you was reading just now, right? When it say, true friend will lay down his life for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that?
So let's not look at it so literal. So let's think about it in a different. So let's look at it from a different.
No. I ain't looking at it like that. You know, what I'm saying is that eternal life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say you have this friend, you get anything from.
Yeah.
With no strings attached. Now you find himself in a jam,
mm-hmm.
and your testimony could save him. Remember, he has 5 kids, a wife, a mortgage, school fees, but his whole life and the life
mm-hmm.
of his family members. rise and fall on your testimony in court in the morning. Now, would you tell a little white lie to save him? See, that's why you say lay down your life for a friend. You eternal life for this friend. You see what I'm saying? This one, he was always there for you, you know. He was always there for you. Now, if you testify the wrong way tomorrow, and this case swing the wrong way, guess what happened? His wife get evicted out of the house because he gained it for 15 years. He got 5 children, and you's the godfather of all 5, so you got to spend money on them. You see what I'm saying? So this friend thing, and this, like, I just asked you, what you think about it? Let me hear your answer before we close.
I mean, if I before the stand, I lions, I gotta be truthful on the stand, and I gotta be truthful before God, and that's just the reality of it. If my friend end up in that situation, it had to be for some reason. But I can't, me as a man, I can't allow our friendship to get in the way of me being true to myself and being true to God.
Well, that's good. That's good. But I'm just saying, this was the one who always went out on the limb for you.
Yeah.
Now that he did that favor to save his life and the family and the lives of his family.
Yeah.
So that's real good on your part.
Yeah.
I want to know, can you live with that? Like, you know, can you live with it? Or
I
you just tell him, Your Honor, you just could go before the court and say, Your Honor, I got too much tie up on in this case right now. It's emotional distraught. I wish not to get involved.
Plead my fifth.
You could do that. So you'd have to see, and you'd have to let him know, boy, I really can't come and testify on your behalf.
Yeah.
But you say, boy, remember when this, remember that? And he see, that's what friends do. That's what friends do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they put you in a certain position that you can't say no.
Right. I get that. Very, very powerful stuff. Chrissy B, you had your hand up again, or that was from the first time?
I think that was from the first time.
Okay. Dachi.
I might.
Dachi,
Hey, Duane.
Yes, lady.
I have a question. Do you think that exes can be friends? Because I had some situations where I had to cut some of them off, even though they were good friends.
Yeah.
To me, but I just had to cut them off. But in your opinion, and I probably want to get Dario's opinion as well.
Yeah, Ian already up.
Yeah.
Boy,
I mean,
you say some of them. How old you is, boy? Like, all right, watch this, right? I mean, like, I tell you no lie, right? It's all based. Boy, only close get old. Now watch this, right? I have an ex, and we close, but we're not tight. You know, like through the hurricane, I'll say, boy, how things go? I never lead on. I treat her more like a little sister, even though she older than me. I say, boy, how things with you in the family, how old lady them, because they never diss me. See, when the grass was green on that side, I was looking for fertilizer over someplace else, so I messed that up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But I mean, she done had a kid. I done married and move on. And one time ago, she put this what you call that big word, man? Where is? She gave me an ultimatum. She said, boy, I know you're going to get married, right? She said, I know you're going to get married, right? But you come when I call you and not when you want to come. And I tell her, I say, sis, foolishness. I say, I never do it to you, so I ain't going to do it to this one. But that was like years ago, but be tight, be cool. I mean, we based on a professional level because it's certain things about her mortgage that she didn't know.
Yeah.
She didn't even know that Finco had stopped taking her payments. So what they was doing was just compounding her loan in the same deferment due to COVID. So I called her like 2-3 months in, and her mortgage ain't get paid for 3 months. And
crazy.
But she said, boy, no, it don't go like that. And I say, boy, it go like that because they just hit me up. So I think you need to call them. So you be careful, you be surprised who could look out for you in the future. We talk about we cutting them off. Now, some people, they just talking, but, that's just they want to sign or they want to do whatever. You know what I mean? Come on. So certain people you just push away, but certain people you just need in your corner.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, and but we conscious individuals, so we'll be able to figure that out. You gotta look to see if this person benefiting you at all. You know what I mean? X might just wanna to be in your life to just, I mean, like you got to look to see what this person, like, why you want to be in my life, for what reason. And back to that situation with the young lady that I became acquainted with. She was like, wait, what this is, like why you here, you know what I mean? So you gotta question people, but like vet these people. Don't like, you don't just be in my life for no particular reason. Like what value are you bringing to me? Like what expect, because I mean, it's they're an X for a reason. Things didn't work out, unfortunate. It was some reason. But you got to keep in mind that you need persons who are actually going to bring benefits to your life. And not to say you use a person for benefits, but like, what value do you bring to me? Are you encouraging me on my walk to Christ? Are you helping me in a financial sense in terms of advice, or anything like that? So ultimately, you just gotta see if this person worth having in your life at all, or if this person just looking for casual conversation. Because I mean, if you're just looking for casual conversation, you could go find out elsewhere. I ain't really the counselor, the talking guru or whatever. So that's that. So I think that is it for this evening, guys. We're gonna call it there. And I think it was a good conversation. I think it's a good discussion we did. I think we spoke very well on what it is we look for in friends, what makes a good friend, and what all is involved in, even when it comes to boundaries and just being real and conscious and intentional about how we bring persons into our lives, and like what we share with them, and how we interact with them. So definitely good stuff. Kenny B, you there?
What's good, man?
Can you say the closing prayer for me, please, sir?
No problem.
Appreciate it.
All right. Let's pray, everyone. Dear God, thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for letting us be able to have this discussion tonight, dear Lord. A lot of interesting things were said tonight. May the things that we come in contact with and that we learn tonight may give us something to think about for the rest of the week and for our future thoughts. Right now, as we go our separate ways, may you keep us safe from this COVID-19, and will you help those who may be struggling with this COVID-19. May you heal them, and may you get rid of this COVID-19 altogether, dear Lord. May you actually use this as to help people draw closer to you. Because you know, dear Lord, that we may fall short and may lose faith, but dear Lord, may you keep our faith and may it get stronger. Right now, as we go our separate ways, may you keep us. You should pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, bud.
No problem.
All right, folks, that is the end of our session. Thank you so much for joining, and I appreciate every one of y'all. So that is all for this evening. See y'all next week, Friday, Lord's willing. And we'll have another topic for you. All right. So take care. Have a good weekend. All the best. God bless you all. Signing out.
All right. Good night.
Good night.